Can we go back to slide number 9, please, with the summary? Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
There you go. I just wanted to, as we get started, I know I've gotten some questions from the community about the Jefferson, Houston, and Patrick Henry conversions, and I just wanted to reiterate a point that was made in the superintendent's presentation that no decisions have been made yet. That's something I know we'll be talking through as we go through our CIP budget meetings here. So just to reiterate, no decisions have been made in terms of what schools being converted, if a school's being converted, so we're going to continue to have some more discussion about that. And I'll just kind of kick it off with a question that I have. The funding is listed for those possible conversions in the years 2030 to 2032. I know we have talked about if we're going to make that decision, doing it as a part of the redistricting process. So presumably that funding would have to move up earlier into the FY26 year. Is that?
Yes, that would definitely have to move depending on the board's decision to move forward. I do think it's wise that we have that discussion as we continue with our redistricting meetings and decisions. And so, Dr. Hart, I don't know if you would like to speak or add anything additional around how we placed it there and just knowing how we were making decisions with the new guidance from the city. So I don't know if Dr. Hart or someone in person would like to respond a little bit. That is a placeholder. And so, those out years would have to shift a bit. So.
Yes, so I will definitely turn it over to the team, but essentially I just want to reiterate, this is a planning placeholder, I should say, within the CIP. We wanted to be proactive in ensuring that we had some funds dedicated to any potential change related to the K-8. So then that way, as we are progressing through a 10-year iteration of a CIP, there are no surprises on either end regarding our needs to be able to continue to move our capacity projects forward. But so for Dustin, please feel free to jump in if I've missed anything.
Thanks, Dr. Hart. No, excuse me, I don't think you've missed anything. And again, we're really hoping to capture some rough order of magnitude pricing as it relates to some of these conversions, with the thought, as Dr. K. Wyatt mentioned, that we would have to adjust into the future. So we're really looking to just capture what we think it's going to cost to make some of the proposed adjustments and ensure that we've got placeholders there with the ability to adjust in the future.
All right, thank you. So I'll open up to board members for questions or feedback. Okay. Ms. Booth has a follow-up question.
Yeah, no, thank you. So I know we're still, there's a lot of conversations happening in tandem on this. I'm going to try not to look away from the mic to get the note. But so I guess what I'm trying to understand is, if this board does say, let's convert Jefferson Houston or Patrick Henry to a middle school and the other school to an elementary school, are we saying that wouldn't be able to happen until these outer years? Or are we saying that we do this, we do part of redistricting, we're essentially sending, students to 3 middle schools starting in fall of 2026, which is aligned with the redistricting plan?
So first is the decision, of course. I think that's what we need to determine. The second thing is, yes, the timeline has to move up. But I think, Dr. Hart, do you want to speak to what that timeline would look like? Because we would have to do it in a way that we'd have to move different schools at different times. So I think it's required for part of the redistricting conversation, but it would be kind of like a multi-step process, because we can't do, and I'll let Dr. Hart speak to the construction piece, trying to do it all at once and move students around. But we do need the decision to happen as we go into redistricting when we're talking about drawing our boundaries. So Dr. Hart?
Yes, excuse me. Yes. So thank you, Dr. K. Wyatt. We definitely have to put thought into the timing of implementation of any decision regarding K-8. I do think that we shared, when it was first presented as an idea during a work session, that we wanted to manage expectations and note that there would need to be some flexibility in the conversation, and that years in terms of construction of these items could potentially change. So I know that we will be bringing additional information to the second work session specifically related to the out years. And I would like to say, of course, we welcome any questions tonight, but I think there will be a number of things that we'll be able to answer next week as we get into conversations about the out years.
Yeah, I would just add to that and this is kind of a preview for next week, but the years that were included on the CIP were factoring in a number of things. One, school board policy on redistricting, where we look at our boundaries every 5 years, looking at just the capital outlays that the city guidance has put in front of us, knowing that ACPS accounts for a lot of the debt service. And so just being mindful of that and reflecting that in kind of the 10-year, but also knowing that we have some urgent middle school capacity needs. And so these years in tandem with how we were planning the design, construction, were expedient, but also kind of in concert with all of that thought behind it. And again, the Jefferson Houston conversion, one, Patrick Henry is a larger school. It can accommodate more elementary school students. Jefferson Houston, in terms of converting it to middle school, may be easier in terms of facilities needs. So that's where that was coming from, but we'll kind of expand on those as we get into the presentation next week, as Dr. Hart mentioned.
I just wanted to say that, thank you for that. That was helpful because, so what I'm hearing is some of it was related to the guidance that we received from the city, and so trying to put that placeholder funding in years that would align with the city guidance. I think we as a board need to have a conversation about what our needs are for the school division, and then once we've settled on where we land with the proposed budget, then we can have that conversation with our counterparts on city council. I'll go on to Mr. Beatty.